To all you superstitious people out there, it's 3:33 at the time of recording. What does that mean? It's a star number or something? I don't know what that means. I don't even believe in the zodiac stuff, but I mean, people also tell me that makes sense because I'm a Leo whose moon is in Aquarius, something rising Gemini. I don't know. Apparently I'm an egotistical prick, and it's reflected. So, yep, I don't believe in it, but it also says exactly who I am. I'm just going to leave that thought there. And we're just going to get right into it. We got the trade deadline going on next week. It's going to be fun. It's next Tuesday. I have no idea what's going to happen, as always. However, except this year more than ever, because there's not really a lot of trade rumors. It almost feels like the trade rumors right now are kind of forced and contrived. That's how did Deshaun Watson, right? Like, multiple teams have interest in Evan Engram. I hear that every year. He hasn't got traded yet. Every year his trade value drops. I would have interest too when the guy who would have traded a second-round pick for 2 years ago plays the exact freaking same, and now he's worth a sixth or a seventh. Like, it'll be, it's the New York Giants. Hold on. It'll be a 2023 seventh conditional sixth if he plays 50% of snaps and has 500 receiving yards. It'll be some weird prop like that, which won't hit because Gettleman's that guy. Got to be a big gambler on the low the way some of these conditional picks are set up. Same thing with the Eagles too. Howie Roseman, man, loves the conditional picks. But anyways, it's almost all said and done that Deshaun Watson's going to Miami, unless it comes out by Tuesday that dude is guilty. I mean, the NFL's kind of promoting a trade now. You got Roger Goodell sitting out here parading. Yeah, we don't get involved in that stuff. Let's just ignore all the situations where they've gotten heavily involved. It's because he's a freaking star. And nothing's going to end up coming out of this because they're civil cases. Even if everything happened, and I'm just going to say, why do you have 40-plus masseuses in the first place? It's a little odd to me. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. I'm just saying baseline, guys got to be a little odd. He could throw a football pretty well. He could throw a football just as good as the 5 best football throwers in the world. Because he is one of the 5 best football throwers in the world. So therefore, it's a hot commodity. He is going to be a Dolphin because he will not waive his no-trade clause for anybody else. What sucks is Brian Flores kind of clearly doesn't want Watson, whether it be the character, whether it be he likes Tua, whether he is a thinking person, unlike everybody in Miami, who you paid a third overall pick? A third or fourth overall pick, you paid a pick heavier premium than what it took to get Justin Herbert, and you're going to drop on him because he didn't play that well, because he was coming back from a terrible injury and COVID, and the team was kind of crap anyways. It's not like he's been bad recently. 2 of the last 2 weeks has been a good quarterback. Yeah, they lost that game against Jacksonville, but it's not really all on him. Anyways, this is a bad time to dump on Tua, but in the same breath, if you can get Watson, you do. The rumor is it would be a rare for the NFL. This is a peacock, a 3-team trade, all right? That's some NBA stuff. We don't see that in football, but it's looking like Houston doesn't want Tua either. So who else would want Tua? Washington for some reason. Why? I don't freaking know. Probably because they can get him for way cheaper than they should. And also, Tua would fit the system. I mean, he does everything Taylor Heineke does, but way better. So anyways, yeah, we figure Watson will be a Dolphin by Tuesday. Figure that's going to be 2 firsts, Tua, maybe like a couple fourths, and another player if they got what they're asking for. I mean, reportedly, Houston's telling people, hey, just beat Miami's offer. We'll talk about it. We can convince them. They're not going to convince Watson to waive his no-trade clause. Unless he's going to, like, a freaking great team. But what great team will get involved right there? It's not feasible. There is no team right now in a great position who doesn't already have a quarterback they want to try or have a quarterback they want to keep. Okay, the only teams which are in a position to get Deshaun Watson, outside of Miami, have a quarterback they don't want to try nor keep. Having said all that, I have no idea what's going to happen at the trade deadline. I have a solid feeling that it's going to be boring, right? It doesn't seem like there's a lot of movement. I mean, we saw the Ravens lose all those running backs, lose all those corners. They didn't trade for neither nor, It just seems like there's less of a push and an effort to give up on capital for the future. I don't know why. Maybe it has to do with what the salary cap situation is looking like. A lot of teams backloaded a lot of contracts pre-COVID, knowing that there was going to be an exponential growth in the salary cap, that there was a consistent $10 to $16 million growth every year, and then the cap had to regress $15 million. So maybe that's why the trade deadline just seems to be so inactive, because so many teams just don't have the money right now. It's kind of what it is. Even the bad teams don't have freaking money. Backloading contracts. COVID took $15 million away, and that's per team. That's per salary cap, like $15 million. I mean, that's a third of a top 5 quarterback contract. If you're trading for Watson, you got to have $40 million a year to give to him. There's no way Houston's eating that money, all right? You're not going to have a Rams situation. I mean, I don't know what anybody's going to do with the trade deadline, because even thinking about, like, the top teams, like, what needs do they have? Most of the top teams don't really have pressing enough needs to justify pulling a trade. There's not a lot of situations where there's good players who want out. N'Keal Harry wants out. Who cares, right? Or if you're a N'Keal Harry caliber player, if you're a Marlon Mack caliber player, especially coming off his injury, and you want out, okay, cool. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot of pushes or pulls for big trades to get pulled off. And a lot of big trades happened in the last offseason anyways. You know, a lot of teams are traded out. You see San Fran priming up to do another big trade after they moved up for Lance. It's just not going to happen. Hold on. I'm actually sitting in my car right now in the Xavier parking lot. If you're familiar with Seton Hall, it's very tight. And there's a person next to me getting into their car right now. So I am going to stop talking for a minute. I'll obviously pause this, but it's just funny. Imagine going to your car and seeing somebody talking to his phone. Two people. All right, they're in their cars. I'm back to recording. All right, so the first game up, we got Packers and Cardinals. This could be a crap show. I have a weird feeling it won't be. I'll say two things. I don't know who the Packers wide receivers 4, 5, and 6 are, but I know 1, 2, and 3 are out. Unless Lazard's trending towards playing. I know Scantling just got put on IR. I know Devontae's got COVID. Do they all have COVID? I don't know. I know Robert Tonyan is a guy to play for the first week ever this year. Got to put a huge green light on Tonyan. I mean, God, he's been bad this year. Mostly because he wasn't exactly good last year. He was just kind of catching big touchdowns. Big body tight end. Aaron Rodgers had to flex on people. Yes, Aaron Jones is obviously a great play. I can't recommend the backup running back. I can't recommend Dillon. I don't think that Green Bay is just going to give up the pass and go right to the run. Aaron Rodgers is a bit of an ego. And on top of that, he really can put the ball anywhere on the field. So there's going to be less separation, but you got to figure those wide receivers are still going to be getting some tread. They're going to be running a lot of routes. They will run the ball more than normal, but they're not going to just collapse to the running game because, oh crap, Aaron has nobody to throw to. As for the Cardinals, as always, the only Cardinals worth playing in fantasy on a consistent basis are going to be D-Hop and Kyler. I will say that Chase Edmonds is a better play now than usual because of the propensity for the Cardinals to get an early lead. Because Green Bay can't stop the Cardinals from scoring. Matter of freaking fact, Green Bay cannot stop the Cardinals from scoring. How this would be a game is if Green Bay could score. It's going to be a lot harder for Green Bay to score. So therefore, I'm going to say if you're running fantasy lineups in this game, I'd rock with Tonyan don't run Tonyan if you have a good tight end. If you're like one of those 7 of 12 people in regular 12-person leagues who doesn't have one of the top 4, top 5 tight ends. And even then, Waller and Andrews are on bye this week. So there's a good chance you listening to this are in between like Jared Cook and Tonyan, and you're like, oh yeah, Cook's better. No, this would be a really good time to play Tonyan. And obviously you got to play Aaron Jones, you got to play D-Hop. I would say Tonyan and Chase Edmonds are the takeaways of guys who should be started. I wouldn't say fade Aaron. I would not fade Aaron Rodgers in this matchup if you have him unless you have a good second quarterback. Cardinals are going to win. Sorry, I should add that. I decided it'd be better to just go through the fantasy stuff while I go through the games. It kind of makes more sense, kind of more free-flowy too. All right, Panthers at Falcons. Falcons are going to win. Just going to put that out there. Kyle Pitts is going to be a fantastic play. His usage, it just keeps going up. I mean, if it keeps going up at this pace, he's going to catch 300 next week. But it's a little bit of a joke. The Panthers just pitiful, like really pitiful without McCaffrey. Yeah, they beat Houston, and McCaffrey played half that game. They got the lead at the beginning, and then Darnold got a couple of good balls in there. Darnold looks lost without McCaffrey. And on top of that, Carolina did nothing to make sure they had a good backup running back. They let Mike Davis walk. And then Chuba Hubbard sucks. Chuba Hubbard sucks. Matt Ryan's a good fantasy play. It seems Atlanta figured out their offensive line. They're not letting the 38-year-old guy get his shins cracked every 5 snaps. I'll go Falcons in this game. All right, Titans and Colts. The Titans being a bad team was an aberration. They've lost 2 games. They lost to the Super Bowl favorite Cardinals. I hope that doesn't sound too crazy. Super Bowl favorite Cardinals. And then without a couple offensive linemen, without any wide receivers, they lost to the Jets somehow, some way. I lost like $300 in that game, but that's okay because the Titans are going to win this game. And the Titans are going to cover whatever the spread is on this game. I think it's 4.5. Should be 4.5. It might be 3 or 3.5 because the Colts have been not playing bad, and Jonathan Taylor is like the 5th best running back in football right now. Some people saying as high as 3. I'm going to say 5th. Volume a little bit. Derrick Henry looks like the greatest running back of all time. I'm not saying he is. All 5 to 20 people who are going to listen to this, I'm not saying Derrick Henry's the best running back of all time. I'm just saying he's playing like him. I'm just saying he's wearing the best running back's uniform. And it's not typically a Titans uniform. Most would say it's a Lions uniform, but still, nonetheless, regardless, rock with Titans in a probably mid-scoring division matchup. Anytime there's a division matchup, I just assume it's not going to be high scoring. It's a fair assumption. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm dumb. I don't know. Bills and Dolphins. Bills shut out the Dolphins last time. The Bills might not shut them out this time. No. It'll be a high scoring game. This is going to be like 40-27. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It's going to probably, for some reason, if the game goes bad, by the way, it kind of solidifies that they're going to get Deshaun Watson. At least in people's heads. Like, it would probably happen regardless, but let's be real, as a fan, you see Tua play bad against the Bills, you're like, oh, he's never going to win. He's barely played any games, and he's sucked in most of them because he's been in a bad situation. He's never going to win. And that's probably what the sentiment's going to be. And the Bills are going to win. Yeah, I can't really recommend any fantasy players in this game. I like Jeremy Waddle. I like Jeremy Waddle moving up and around the Bills secondary, and I like Gesicki. I don't particularly like Parker. And there's the obvious guys who you have to play, right? Like, you got Josh Allen, you're playing Josh Allen. You got Stephon Diggs, you're playing Stephon Diggs. Emmanuel Sanders has kind of pushed his way into that conversation. It's weird. Emmanuel Sanders never actually, gets worse. He's kind of been playing the same exact game of football for the last 10 years. Which is why now that he's in the best situation of his career, second best. He was with the Peyton Manning Broncos at one point. Not during their best point, but at one point. So, Emmanuel Sanders is a play. I would not play Cole Beasley. I don't like the matchup. And I think that the Bills are going to want to exploit better matchups. Bengals versus Jets. I'm just going to go into this. I'm not even going to talk about the game because you know the Bengals are going to win. Michael Carter should be a good fantasy play for the Jets this week. I mean, they're going to be running the ball a lot, even if they're down. You can't throw the ball with, what's his name, Mike White? Yeah, it's Mike White. You're not going to be throwing the ball a lot with him. They didn't even like throwing the ball a lot with Zach Wilson because he couldn't do it. You think Mike White's going to do better? Yeah, no. With the Bengals, this should be, they should go up pretty quick and early. I don't know how much they're going to throw the ball, but Joe Burrow loves to throw the ball, so I could see them being up 3 scores and still throwing like at least 1/3 of a drive's plays. So I would say all of the Bengals are a green light. This might be a weird game where if your fantasy team is built like you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, you'll get like a combined 50 fantasy points out of them. So yeah, I think I would green light everybody on the Bengals except for what is the tight end's last name? I'm not gonna look it up. I messed it up last time. I would fade their tight end. I don't like that matchup. Mosley's going to be around there. It's probably the only competent player zoning around for the Jets. Steelers and Browns. Nick Chubb should play. And if Nick Chubb plays, Dearness Johnson is still a viable flex option. This is the week where the Browns kind of prove that their defense can overcome any bad play by no shoulder having Baker or any inconsistency from throw the ball to the corner 3 times a game Keenum or however many injuries they have or no Dell Beckham. I can't talk crap about Jarvis Landry. Everybody knows Jarvis Landry's game. Yeah, he's overpaid, but only receiver in NFL history to have 100 catches and not hit 1,000 receiving yards. Yeah, no, we know who he is. It's okay. It's no hate on the guy. For the Steelers, obviously you're going to play Najee Harris. I love Chase Claypool in this matchup. This is just the perfect type of game, perfect type of setting where Chase Claypool is going to have 8 or 9 catches and 100+ yards, probably a touchdown. He's a big guy. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Chase Claypool to just blow him up. But the Browns are going to win. All right, Chase Claypool might be at 7 catches and 50 yards until the fourth quarter end of game down by 20 drive where he ends up with a 60-yard touchdown catch. I don't know. We'll see. Ben loves to throw, man. Ben Roethlisberger, I've never seen a guy who loves to throw so much but struggles with it as much as he does. And the fact that the Steelers give him the Kobe treatment is kind of hilarious, but sad at the same time. Really giving a farewell tour to him when you guys had a roster which could win a chip. Okay. Got freaking Mike Tomlin, probably about to have his first losing season ever, and you got him fielding questions if he's going to leave and go to college, which is disrespectful as hell. Yeah, Ben Roethlisberger shouldn't be there, but this is what they sowed and they're reaping it. Chase Claypool. Eagles versus Lions. There is nobody in this game I like for fantasy. Nobody. I do not like anybody on these teams for fantasy. I don't even know if I like DeAndre Swift this week. I don't. It's the way the matchups seem to work out. I don't think there's any sort of relatively predictable outcome. This is going to be a weird game where Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't think I butchered that. This could be a weird game where he gets a touchdown or two, or Cephas gets a touchdown. I don't know. This game, it's probably going to be... I don't know. It could be low scoring. I could see a situation where both these quarterbacks are awful and the good guys on both defenses are on. I could see a situation where the defenses are crap and these guys are throwing the ball and running the ball all over the place. This game is just unpredictable. It's 2 crap teams who are going to be playing a slugfest. The only question is how hard of the punch is going to be. I'm going to say the Lions get their first win. This Eagles team is an easy team to get a first win against. A lot of question marks seems to be in the locker room with people around Sirianni, with people around Hurts, with people around whether Minshew should be starting. That's a rumor which is coming out. Different injuries around. No, it's an ugly game. It's a spooky game. Happy Halloween. There's the Halloween joke. All right, Rams versus Texans. Brandon Cooks is going to score a touchdown against his former team. That's all I could say. The Rams, it's obvious, you know who you want to play. You know Cooper Kupp is playing like the best wide receiver in football and possibly the best white wide receiver of all time. Not that that's a stat that matters or anybody keeps up with. You know, it's kind of like Christian McCaffrey, but wide receiver version. God, Cooper Kupp really has been crazy. Like, are he and Stafford like childhood friends? Do they like know each other from somewhere? Did they secretly play together at some point? Like, why do they have such a great connection? If they got a rainbow connection, it makes no sense. Yeah, the Rams by 25. I don't know what the spread is. I think the spread might be 14, because I believe the Texans covered this spread against the Cardinals last week. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up super quick. No, I'm wrong. Texans didn't cover the 18-point spread. Okay. Yeah, so that spread's got to be high. I don't know what it is. There's no shot that it's anything within 16 points. 49ers and Bears. I don't care. The Niners are 2-3 and the Bears are 3-3. The Bears with Justin Fields are a horrendous football team. The Niners are going to be getting at him all game. The Niners are going to win this one by 20. There are no Bears players worth playing in fantasy except for Khalil Herbert. He's been the hot hand off the bench since Montgomery's been hurt. 49ers, I like Ayuk. Everybody loves Deebo Samuel. Deebo's improvement has actually been very impressive. Okay, the dude barely played last year. He had a good rookie year, right? He was kind of built like A.J. Brown's, a little smaller, right? They do similar plays, run similar routes, similar blocks, similar guys, similar size. And you think, okay, let's see what he does in his second year. And he starts off better, then he's hurt, right? He was pacing like 1,100 yards. Right now, he's pacing like 1,700 or 1,800 yards. With all like random quarterback controversy, like, oh yeah, Trey Lance will play half this game and then get hurt, and Garoppolo will play half this game and then get hurt. And then whoever replaced Nate Sudfeld, no, not Nate Sudfeld, that's the Eagles guy. Whoa. Whoever their quarterback 3 was last year, whoever replaced him, I don't even remember his name. I know he went to the Eagles, and Nick Mullins. He was even good with Nick Mullins. But whoever replaced him, he was catching passes there too. Deebo has been nuts. Patriots and Chargers. I'm going to take the Patriots to upset. Chargers played like crap before the bye week, and the Chargers are a great team. But the Patriots are a good team, constantly playing better. They're in flux. Every week, Mac Jones looks better. Damian Harris looks better. Their defense looks better. Matt Judon looks the best as he has in his whole career, and this is the best a Patriots football team has looked like since Tom Brady left. I'm going to go with the Patriots in a really, really slight upset. I would fade Mike Williams in fantasy this week. He's been, he lit up weeks 1 through 3, and then week 4 he was and then week 5 he lit it up, and then week 6 he was right? We're starting to get to the shakiness. Shakiness is something Bill Belichick loves to exploit. I think Keenan Allen's a great play. I think this is a great matchup for Keenan Allen, because as soon as they're screwing over Mike Williams, who else are you throwing to? Him and Jared Cook. And the Patriots are kind of good at linebacker. They always are. So you could bet on Jared Cook, but it's going to be a touchdown-dependent fantasy day for him. For the Patriots offense, I like Nelson Aguilar in this matchup. I think that they're going to do a lot with him, but we'll see. Jaguar Seahawks. This is going to be Alex Collins' best running performance of the year. Everybody who has him in fantasy has been playing him and been seeing like 15 carries, 18 carries, 60 yards. No. We're gonna get 20 and 100 out of Collins. He's been running well against great defenses behind a bad offensive line. So let's see what happens when we flip the script a little bit and the Seahawks score early, because they got DK and Lockett on the outside against a porous Jacksonville defense, and then you can start running the ball against that porous Jacksonville front. I like Alex Collins. I don't want to bet on either DK or Lockett because I don't know which one of them is going to catch the touchdown, and I have a feeling with Geno, you're really only good for one a game. And for the Jags, I mean, you roll with James Robinson. Laviska Shenault should have a good game, right? Good matchups. You figure that the bulk of the Seahawks secondary is going to be focused on Marvin Jones, as he has been playing well, as he doesn't seem to age either. He must be on that vegan diet. All these older players, and they're either going on vegan stuff or trying some more TB12. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in the water. Because I'll tell you this, it's not like those wide receivers are getting hit any softer than they did 15 years ago. Not getting jammed at the line as much, but I mean down the field, being 195 and getting cracked by somebody who's like 250. Yeah, that hasn't changed. Might have got worse actually. Guys a little faster. I like Laviska Shenault. He's a very versatile athlete, and versatile athletes have been succeeding against the Seahawks. Bucs and Saints. This is one of the few division games where you have two good teams, and I use good a little differently for both these teams. Like, I use good for the Saints as like 15th best team in football, and I use good for the Bucs as like second to third best team in football, right? You know, I use the term a little differently. I don't think it's a trap game where the worst team in the division is going to get the win. I think that the Bucs are going to be putting in some freaking work, and I think because of that, it's going to awaken the Jameis Winston of old. I'm expecting Jameis Winston to have his first 300-yard game. I'm expecting 303 and 2 with an optional fumble. Optional fumble. It's hard to bet on Tampa wide receivers, but in the same breath, Brady just throws the ball so much. He's leading the league in freaking passing yards and passing touchdowns. He throws the ball so much, you can play all of them and be fine in fantasy. Gronk should be back this week. That's going to add more confusion to the pool. AB is going to be back this week. It's going to add more confusion to the pool. The stable hand, the guy who you can always expect to get 7 or 8 targets, is Chris Godwin. So if I have the what's the word I'm looking for, the luxury to pick any of these wide receivers in a fantasy lineup, I'm going to go with Chris Godwin. This is the first week in a while I would say fade Leonard Fournette. Look at the way that in that wind and rain and slop and crap, the Saints were still stopping the run. And it's not like Alex Collins has been playing bad either. He actually looked pretty good up until his offensive line screwed him every snap. So yeah, I would go a little light on the Leonard Fournette sauce for this game. Only because adding Gronk and AB back, you're going to lose some of those running back receptions, right? Because they're a team, they're going to run a little more wide receiver screens. They're going to run a little more jet sweeps. They're going to run more tight end screens. They're going to run more short tight end passes, halfback wheels where the real option's the tight end. Getting everybody back, it's less likely Fournette is going to be as successful. However, what is crazy with this team is they can have 3 major injuries on offense, and they still have 3 guys who are going to step the hell up. So yeah, Bucs win. I don't know by how much, by a lot. Did I say the Seahawks win against the Jags? Because I think they do, but I mean, they might not. I'm gonna say this is the 50-50 game. I would actually rather say the Lions beat the Eagles than say that the Seahawks beat the Jags. That's how I feel about that. All right, continuing on the 4 o'clock slate, Washington and Broncos. If you want to see how bad of a team the Broncos actually are, watch Washington beat them by 10. Watch Washington beat them by 10. I don't remember the name of Washington's tight end, because it's not Logan Thomas who's hurt. So if any of you guys are more intelligent than me and know his name, play him in fantasy. He's been really good with catches. Broncos have been iffy against tight ends last few weeks. Just play him. The Broncos, it's hard to really say anybody. I like Javonte Williams because in a weird way, they're not taking away from Melvin Gordon's rushes like we thought that they would. They're taking away from his receptions and third downs, which is kind of funny because Melvin Gordon's always been a career 3-down back. If I were the Broncos, I would trade Melvin Gordon. Like, I would cut the crap and trade him at the deadline. Like, there's no reason they should still be even paying him. when they have Williams, who's been doing a similar to exact same thing, and they clearly don't want him, and other teams could use him. Like, Melvin Gordon would be great with the Ravens, even though I think the Ravens feel confident where they're at. I don't know why, but they do. I mean, it's Lamar floating the ship. God, Lamar's so good. Anyways, I could see Melvin Gordon being good with... I can't say the Rams because Henderson's been good. He would be good there, though. Yeah, I guess just the Ravens. I guess just the Ravens are the only team I would see being in a position with the type of football they play where they would be willing to trade for a older running back on a not cheap contract who has scored 8 touchdowns every year since 2015. Just want to say, he's been great. He's been very, very good. They should do that. The Broncos should just give up on this year. They should, thank God, like, get on your knees. You're a mile high. You're a mile closer to him than I am. And say, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus Christ. Thank you, Mother Mary. Thank you, all the angels and saints in heaven and all the people who were good enough to get there for giving us that 3-game win streak to start the year. Sorry for folding on you guys, but we tried. That's what they should do. Cowboys and Vikings. This is not a trap game. There are no more trap games for the Cowboys. I have said that there were going to be 2 different trap games for the Cowboys. There were no trap games for the Cowboys. The Cowboys are freaking legit. Their offense is the best in football. Their defense is great. Trayvon Diggs is good, not great, because for every interception he has, he lets up a 50-yard touchdown. But I don't care. I'm not talking about that. They drafted a bunch of players on defense who everybody said they were reaching on. They overpaid a lot of players on defense who people said they shouldn't overpay. They drafted a lot of guys at positions people said they shouldn't draft them at, and they are now a Super Bowl contender. For the first time since the 80s, Jerry Jones is a genius. And the Vikings do not have the firepower on either side of the ball to win this game. They didn't last time. They did it 2 years ago when the Cowboys were worse and the Vikings were better. Why is that? It was another Sunday night game, another primetime game, I know, because I almost won $750,000, but then Dak Prescott threw a check down to Ezekiel Elliott on 4th and goal instead of hitting Randall Cobb open in the back of the end zone, which would have done it for me because the next drive they come back, catch, Amari Cooper, he gets all those PPR points, and I got bumped to $150. All right, you want to hear photographic memory? Ask somebody who could have won $1 million why they didn't. They'll tell you exactly why, step by step. Also, Kyle Rudolph had 2 touchdowns in that game. Vikings don't have a tight end worth mentioning. Yeah, no, I'll go Cowboys. I'll go Cowboys by a lot, like 12. It's a lot in football. All right, Giants and Chiefs. I'm going for the upset. No, I'm just joking. I'm going to be upset. It's possible every Giant is healthy in this game, which would make it interesting. Every Giant on offense, right? Not like the guys who are out for the season, right? Like Jabril's out now. Thank God. I did not mean to say that. I'm not going to go back and edit that. I'm just going to say, didn't mean to say thank God. Blake Martinez is out. You know what? Thank God we have Xavier McKinney. I think that's where my mind was half going, but I was too busy still pushing on my other sentence. Thank God we have McKinney. Thank God we have Logan Ryan. Thank God we have Bradbury, and I can't really say anything for anybody else. But for them, I like it, you know. This is a perfect bounce back game for the Chiefs at home when they've been not playing good football at all. And it's been on Mahomes. All right, don't let media fool you. Don't let them say, oh, yeah, well, the guys around him are being bad. He has good offensive line play. He has great receivers. And the defense hasn't been good, but it hasn't been losing record bad. You know, especially when you have an offense that loaded. They paid for their offense so they could score 35 when their opponent scores 30. It's on Mahomes. He's forcing too many throws he doesn't take what the defense gives him anymore. He's just too, I don't know. He's playing like Brett Favre. He's not playing like Patrick Mahomes. That's what I'll end with. I'll go with Chiefs, but I'm going to say it's close. The Giants love to cover on the road. The spread is 9.5. yeah, that's not going to happen. Giants are going to lose by like 4. Chiefs are going to win. Giants are going to lose by 4. If everybody on the Giants is healthy, I'm going to say play Tony. If Tony's out, play Sterling Shepard. Nobody else in the Giants is worth touching in this game, except for because we talked about a lot of the good tight ends are on buys. I would take a cheeky Kyle Rudolph play. If anybody's interested, feel free. As for the Chiefs, every year for the last 6 years, I've watched the Giants get dominated by speedsters in the back. And we brought in, blanking on his name, I'm just going to refer to him as Guy from the Titans, specifically to play against a guy like Tyreek Hill. Right? He's just as fast, same 40. He's played in his division. He's manned up him before. So I don't know if it's going to be Tyreek going off. I know Mecole should have a good game. This would be a good game to put Mecole Hardman in your flex slot if you need to. Mahomes will have a good game. He's probably not going to throw an interception for once this year. But yeah, that's how I feel about that. That's how I feel about all those games. And I'm just going to say that's it. I didn't realize I was talking for 36 minutes. God. Goodness gracious. I don't really have any more thoughts, I don't really have any football thoughts. I didn't post last week, so I was a little busy. It's very busy. I actually had notes written out for a whole episode. I had notes for every game and every player I wanted to talk about, and then I just ended up being so, snap crazy busy it never materialized. So I'm glad I got this out. Let's get back on track, back in action. Rubber band man, snap on back. Don't gotta snap back. Oh, God, that sounded like the Dwayne Johnson rap a little bit. So on that note, goodbye, good night, good morning. It's 4:11 p.m. I'll see you next week. We're going to talk about the trade deadline next week. I like the format that I did today where I talk about the games and say players I like and don't like. As I talk about the games, I think it's a lot easier for me than to talk about the games and then go back and look at each game and then talk about the players. I mean, it's just good free flow conscious. A, it saves time. B, it saves your time. You know what I'm talking about. But all right. I hope getting on Podbean and soon Apple Podcasts means people will start listening. I'm hopeful. I think it'll happen. I'm going to keep egregiously advertising this on shoe memes, and I love that I got the Seton Hall Podbean account finally. It's actually hilarious. They made a logo for me. I'm scared to change it. It says MPSP football and then Seton Hall below it. So, I mean, I like my logo better, but I don't even know if I'm allowed to change it. They actually told me I wouldn't be able to post. I would just have to put things up in drafts and they would post it for me, and then I was able to post for whatever reason. So I just uploaded everything, emailed them, said, hey, found a way to post, by the way. Thank you. Haven't got an email back. I guess it's a thumbs up. I don't know. They sent me a 2-minute video here's how you use Podbean. As if an intuitive 21-year-old male who's, well, I guess male doesn't matter. Scratch that from the tape. That was just a descriptor. The things that matter are an intuitive 21-year-old person, right? Because an animal wouldn't be able to do that. 21-year-old person who's grown up their whole lives using technology, computers, phones, smartphones, being glued to Game Boys and then the DS and then Nokia Lumia 900 and then LG G3, Samsung Galaxy S7. You get the gist. I finally jumped to iPhone with the XS. Now I'm on the 12. Bougie. 12 Pro Max. Bougie. All this technology in my hands at all times. You didn't think I was going to be able to figure out some pull-down tabs? I had to watch a 2-minute video to tell me there were pull-down tabs. I understand some people are technologically impaired, but you're not allowed to be technologically impaired and expect to make money in 2021. It's not realistic unless you're already 70 and on the way out, and it's all right, just die and we'll deal with it later. Not to sound ageist, I'm just saying it's got a lot of people grandfathered into positions where they don't need to necessarily know or do as much to make as much as they do. Unfair, wealth gap. That's not for this podcast. I'm sure Seton Hall sponsoring another podcast. You can hear all about wealth and education and intelligence gaps. But yeah, we're on Podbean, baby. We are on Podbean. Okay, I got 10 more seconds. I decide I want to ride this out to exactly 40 seconds. So, goodbye.